Alright guys, it's me, Alessandra, and holy shit, has it been like wild. This past month has been trying, to say the least, and I know a lot of people are talking about like parasitic entities and like CERN and um like more demonic or parasitic entities attacking people, and causing just interference and like sowing seeds of chaos in people's lives. And I've had that going on for quite some time now, a couple years, like maybe probably my entire life, actually, when I look back. But uh, really, really heavy the past 5 years. Um, you get like the Boy Scouts and all that on you, and the Girl Scouts. So yeah, that's been interesting. But I'm trying to welcome this as um, an obvious sign of my own growth, because um, opposition does not come when you are lying down, right? So if opposition is coming to you, it's because you're making progress, and so they need to like halt your progress. And so basically, a lot of opposition, a lot of halting my progress. But through every experience that we have, we're more prepared for each of the other experiences that we can go through. So, like, I have this. How do you see that? What the hell is that? Anyway, so yeah, so like, a lot of strange things happening, that honestly I probably shouldn't even talk about, because it seems to me that as soon as I started opening up about certain aspects of um, my reality, that I was much more heavily targeted as a means to silence me. And for the moment, I think that's probably the best, simply because I want to be clear enough within myself to know that what I'm saying is accurate and true before I present it as truth coming from me, because there's also high levels of like scrambling, and people can use AI, and I'm being fed information from different sources that may or may not be reputable. Probably a lot of them are not reputable. But I did just want to mention that I feel as though I'm like integrating a lot more of like shadow aspects within myself, but also within the collective. I'm starting to be able to see more of the shadow that has existed always, but that now I'm more open to seeing, or for whatever reason I'm being forced to see, because now we're moving into denser energies, I believe. And that has been very difficult and troubling, because I feel as though whenever I am really making progress, it it just ramps up so much more, because progress is not something that people want me to make, for a number of reasons, for self-interested reasons, but also just for parasitic consciousness type of reasons. So other people may have their reasons for me not being able to fully integrate shadow aspects of my conscious experience, because that made me leave other people vulnerable. Um, Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Like, um, feels like um, we have fully reached, like, I feel like even in the news and the media, like, people are starting to understand that perhaps, like, there is corruption at high levels. And so I think we're really moving into this time where the shadow is not going to be able to be hidden for very long. So people at all levels are going to have to deal with the reality of things, and so, like, you know, that's going to be a bummer, I think, for a lot of people. But I think for some of us, we feel like, okay, I'm strong enough to handle this, and I can try. I say try because I don't feel as though I'm doing proper justice to this, but I will try to address these issues with grace, regardless of how much people want to steal that from me, right? Um, and I would like to say that group efforts of people on your peace and, like, your ability to just move in any direction, really, um, is a fucking bummer. Like, I don't really know how else to say it, but, like, it's such a bummer. But also, um, it's funny to me to know that so many people have to work against me. And I know it's not just me that so many people are working against, but I know that many of us on the planet at this time are dealing with mass amounts of other people's energy, particularly even like strangers or people, we don't even really know or have any like conscious connection to. But it's not all really about that anymore. Sometimes it's about like just energy. So um, people are easily led and they do what they believe uh, they're supposed to do, or honestly, just what makes them feel right, or sometimes just what protects them. Ultimately, like, a lot of it is really just that. So, um, yeah, I've honestly been like, it's been a doozy this month. Anybody who follows my Instagram knows that. Um, yeah, I think a lot of TIs or like people who deal with gang stalking have this experience of like being drugged um or like the whole car thing, like brighting and like just this constant feeling of surveillance. And it's not always just a feeling, like just being fully aware that you are constantly surveilled by any means necessary, and that you are kept tight tabs upon, especially if you're somebody who is public or outspoken. And there's many layers to this. So, like, um, it may not just be the whole gang stalking aspect. Like, your consciousness may be being interfered with through a number of means throughout your life. Um, and it's almost very unfortunate because I can't speak on it so much. And like at the same time, um, it's just hard. I'm sorry, like my throat's closing up because I'm just thinking like we are in interesting times. Um, and I'm not saying we're in end times or anything. I wouldn't. I don't know that. I don't know that. But what I do know is that people are acting much more parasitic, and people are losing any sense of humanity that I believed was once there. Possibly I'm just growing up. I doubt that. I think that there's something deeper going on, and and it's terrifying at some points. But I think um, I just have to maintain like a higher perspective and understand that like all things that happen are just things that happen. But it's really not about what happens. It's more about how we handle it and how we deal with the situation. And so I do the best that I can. And I'm trying to maintain that peace and that clarity. Um, Also, I'm starting to learn not to trust like anybody, which is unfortunate, but it just seems the safest and smartest route at this point. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't even really know what to say here. It's been like 11 minutes, and you know, I started talking about certain things, um, and was shown very quickly that I should be quiet. And that's really not my nature. Um, I was gonna try to make this like cool and happy, but it's just like, honestly, we're just integrating so much shadow at this point that it's overwhelming. And like, yes, I will be fine. Yes, I am resilient. Yes, I am strong. Yes, I am capable of handling anything. Yes, of course. And like, all glory be to God, because handling these things as an individual would be completely impossible for me. But um, I was like doing so well, and just this entire month, people, strangers, loved ones, acquaintances, all people are like coming at me like so destructively and so deliberately and so like, I've had put like, see, that's the thing, I can't even talk about it because it's like it's like I don't really want to get in trouble. Um, so it's unfortunate, but we'll just call it parasitic consciousness, and that goes into government and all sorts of systems, maybe even systems that are not upfront that they are a system. Um, but yeah, it's wild. We out here. I don't know what to say. I don't even believe anybody on the internet is real anymore. Like, I know that sounds really wild, but it's just like, if I don't literally see you face to face, like, I don't even know if you're a real, genuine person, because I just don't know that. Objectively, I don't know. So, yeah. But I started talking about MK Ultra or SRA and DID, things like that. And I talked about a few things like that, like human trafficking. Um, and by human trafficking, I don't mean like, I mean like sex trafficking, but it's just like also when you're dealing with like AI and things like that, it's like you can't really, even at that point, you can't really even trust your own thoughts. And when you're being primed with information, it's easy to kind of spiral. So like it's just gonna take excuse me, it's gonna take a long time for me to fully process all of this information. Um I also know that I'm being led in some directions that they're obviously not true, but like people have their own agendas, and yeah, it's just unfortunate um that for whatever reason I have to be involved in this. And I guess we were playing tag and I was it. So yeah. I'm alive, I'm fine. And I'm stronger. And I think that's what like I personally need to remember is that I am stronger. Like everything is only going to make me stronger. And there's a lady on YouTube that I've been watching for a long, long time. Let me find her. Her name is Polona Ariadon, but I think she goes by a different name on YouTube. So let me see. Ascension Pioneers. So she was talking about this, and she was talking about this a couple months ago. She's like, we're really heavily integrating shadow aspects. I'm like, I already did that. Like, what are you talking about? I already did that. Like, I did all my shadow work, but ultimately, I believe I only did my conscious shadow work. So I had to delve into like unconscious shadow, um, which was a fucking journey, honestly. Um, and not entirely sure how much of that is even true because, like I said, I was being fed a lot of information by strangers who just appeared in my life suddenly and were like, oh yeah, this is, this means this and that means that, and like if you feel like this or if this is this way, then you must be this. So it's like I need to be very careful and I need to be discerning of the information that I consume, not only through media, not only like presently in person, but also like over the phone, like in any sort of way. I need to be very careful about the information that I'm consuming, and I also need to be very deliberate about the information that I'm communicating. So that's something I'm going to be working on. Um, but yeah, we are delving into the void, my friends. And when I made the name Sparkling in the Void, I had no idea how much void energy I would be having to work with. And honestly, if I had known, I probably would have called in sick. But your girl's here, and somebody's got to fucking do it, right? And ultimately, from a spiritual perspective, you could say that I signed up for this, that I knew the task at hand, and that I knew I could complete it strongly, uh, with good grades. But, you know, also just like on a human, emotional, fragile, personal level, we're really moving through some denser energies. And not only are we moving through denser energies internally, but externally, um, there's dense energy keeping us from making that internal journey. So we're as a group, like collectively, um, I don't even know what to say. It's like But yeah, I mean, I will say to anybody who's working in an organized group against an individual, um, you're a fucking pussy. You're a coward. To people who work indirectly, to people who work for evil and not for good, and who portray themselves as positive people, um, yikes. And I know we all have that within us, right? Like we all, can have bad intentions, but I think some of us um, are really at a place within ourselves where we're constantly just working to like put other people off of balance instead of like finding our own balance. And like that's so frustrating because especially when people work in groups and they may not even be aware of why they're working in those groups, or they may be misled and why, or um, it's just unfortunate, or they may have been coerced for whatever reason to do that because it was necessary for them, because maybe the same thing has happened to them and they became fearful and now they're like, if you can't beat them, join them. But I just believe, I really genuinely believe that um, that's how evil things happen. It's when we all give up and just say, when we affirm our powerlessness to people who are trying to take our power. So, and you join them and then you continue to take other people's power as a means of regaining your own. Um, that's how, like, the Holocaust happened. That's how every evil, horrible, awful, bad thing in history has ever happened, is through good people submitting to the will of bad people. That's how all bad things, all evil things, that's how they all happen. And so when people submit their will to evil, even as good people, as normal, natural, good-natured people, that's how we all become in danger. So I don't know. I just like have been so overwhelmed. And this is really more just like a venting for me, honestly. So if nobody is really interested in this at the 23rd minute, like I totally understand that. I've been trying to journal. I've been trying to get back to a more stable place internally, and not just allowing other people to lead me in random directions because um, I was literally so misled to the point where like people were like making me believe that I was involved in this whole false thing that wasn't even existing. People have been trying to get me to like uh, engage in like petty crime, like trespassing, or like just silly, like just any little thing um, because I think they're afraid of like what I know and like what I can do if I wanted to. And like that's scary to a lot of people. And so they're working a lot behind the scenes to make sure that I don't do that, that I can't do that, and that they will all be safe even if I were to do that. So, yeah, I've had, numerous people come up to me and try to, and for them to be very aggressive with me, verbally, even physically. I had people come up way too close to me, get in my space, like, and I'm not just talking about individuals, I'm talking about groups of people doing this at the same time. Um, I've had cars like try to run me off the road. Um, People throwing things in the road to try to mess up my tires when I'm driving in the middle of the night. Um, I've had people, police officers, just strike up conversations with me for no reason, just wanting to chat. Numerous times, I've been getting a lot of tickets lately for no reason, um, because like I'm not doing anything illegal, so like they can't really like arrest me for any good reason. So they're just like trying to, um, yeah, I don't know. It's really confusing to explain unless you've experienced it. But I guess one of the things that happens in gang stalking is like people trying to get you incarcerated. So like that's either through like the jail system or like a mental health system. I've had maybe 3 people come up to me and be like, "Are you okay? Like, do you need to go to like can we evaluate your mental health?" And I'm just like, no, because like maybe in the past I was more naive and I thought, hey, maybe like something is wrong with me, like things seem weird. No, it was never me. It was never ever me. It was always everybody around me, and it was always deliberate, and it was always very planned. and and it goes very very deep, and I can't even get into it all, and that's unfortunate. But I'm working against, lots of, I shouldn't even say people, because God says like we work not against flesh and blood, but of principalities. What does he say? I don't know. I don't know much about the Bible, but I'm trying to learn about it because it seems to be a place of